check. There we go. How y'all doing? Good. Nice to see y'all here today. This is our band called Resolve. On the keys behind me, this is Jason Johnson. We got Smokeface over here on the bass. We got Richard Orr on the drums. And you probably can't see him, but right here is our friend Darrell Williams. He's playing percussion. So yeah. I'm Donovan Schaefer. Together we are Resolve, and we're just thankful to be here, play some music for you guys, and set the mood, set the environment. So yeah.
Attention! Good evening, Akronites. Welcome to the opening ceremony of Akron's first ever Civic Assembly. For all who are able, please rise as we sing of the beauty and the promise of our country.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plains. America beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Let's hear it once more for those voices of Akron. Now, please welcome our host for the evening, celebrated community leader, Pastor Robert DeJournette.
All right. I don't know about you, but I am super excited. Is anyone besides me super excited about the opportunity that we have before us? All right, y'all close, but you got to get pumped up a little more. He said, I'm a pastor, and I'm a Pentecostal pastor, and I like call and response. So I want you all, let's just set the atmosphere. So when I say let's, you say go. Let's. I say uni, you say phi. Uni. All right, we got a congregation tonight. Listen, tonight we are joining a shared civic undertaking, and it is very exciting. We're kicking off the process of identifying the wisest approaches to address a major issue that affects our entire community, and that issue is housing. Although we have a lot of major issues, but we're starting first with housing. And I started off by saying this is a process. It's not a one and done. It's a process that will evolve, and it will be inclusive of our entire community, a portion of our community, but really the entire community. The process is called civic assembly. Can somebody say civic assembly? Oh, they's preaching to me. Our North Star, our shared goal is Akronites will have a greater access to safe, well-maintained, and affordable housing. Yes, tonight we welcome not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, but 65 delegates as a miniature version of the Akron population selected by the lottery process, but representative of our beloved community. Let's hear for all of our delegates. Listen, our delegates, they will deliberate through proposals over not 1, not 2, but 10 weeks, wrestling with benefits and trade-offs. Ultimately, these 65 delegates will vote to determine which proposals help us achieve our shared goal. And if the assembly finds a high level of consensus, it will present recommendations to the mayor and city council. That's going to be some process. 65 people coming to a consensus, but I believe and know that they'll do it. So the idea of a civic assembly might sound novel, but it's older than you think. And we've got Jess, the scholar, to come and tell you a little more. One of my most esteemed accountability team members. Mr. Announcer, can you tell us who that is who's coming to share with us?
Please welcome the director of the Bliss Institute of Applied Politics at the University of Akron, Dr. J. Cherie Strawn.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Such an exciting afternoon for us. I'm so happy to welcome you here to campus. As was just mentioned, I'm a professor here, and I'm the director of the Racy Bliss Institute of Applied Politics. For me, applied politics, when you think of that term, people think of candidates or party officials and running for office, and how do you get a hold of your congresswoman, or how do you reach out to your senator? But when I took over the Bliss Institute 3 years ago and moved back to Akron, I said, what's missing and what needs to be a fundamental part of our thought process when we think about applied politics are citizens. And we have an absolute mission at the university, both the institute and the university. The University of Akron was founded as a municipal university. It was founded by the people of the city of Akron to be a steward of place and to help facilitate your involvement in public life. And the Bliss Institute is specifically charged with helping promote average people's civic and political participation. And so I teach about this, and I talk to my students all the time, and I say there are so many things that are broken, in part because the public sphere, the place where people could come and connect and deliberate and communicate what they want, is broken. And I tell my students, you have to rebuild a public sphere. And that public sphere, when you think about it, at its core, democracy is deliberative. It recognizes every person's autonomy, right? And right to their preferences and a right to be heard. So when you rebuild the public sphere, it needs to be deliberative. But the thing that it never was, sometimes we had deliberation, and we still have some remnants of it left out there in the public sphere, but it was never inclusive. And so when you rebuild our public sphere, it needs to be both deliberative and respect people's autonomy, and bring them in where they can share and learn from one another, but it also needs to be inclusive, which we've never accomplished before successfully, fully in the United States. So when my students hear me talk about this, and we do readings about it and talk about what this might look like, they go, can you show me an example? Like, where do I go and sign up? Where do I go and check in? And in the past, I would have to say, you have to build it, right? You have to imagine it, and you have to build it. And there was no place to point to say, here's a successful example of inclusive, deliberative processes where citizens were coming together and communicating back to their public officials what they wanted. So when Morgan and the Unify Akron team came to me and asked me to be involved and asked me to serve on the accountability team and to use my expertise in deliberation and citizen engagement to provide help, there was no way that I could say no. Because now, after what the investment from all of our delegates, all of the people from all across the city have said yes, and when my students say, what does this look like, I can point to the Citizens Assembly and say, this is what it looks like. So thank you all so much for joining us here and being willing to share your time and your energy and your commitment. I can't tell you how happy it makes me. Thank you.
Now, please welcome to the stage longtime Akron resident and chief of U.S. Democracy Leagues for Unify America, Morgan Lasher.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today on this very blustery day. We have quite a lot of folks joining us via live stream today because of power outages and trees down in their neighborhood. So for those of you who made it, thank you so much. For those of you who are joining us online, welcome. There's a big question that is weighing on my mind, and I wonder if this is weighing on anybody else's mind tonight. and that is, will this work? There are some really great ideas that y'all have in the audience. There's some really great ideas that are in reports, sitting on shelves and collecting dust. And we are working to make sure that this process doesn't do that. So I wanted to share with you a little bit more in terms of the details about what actually is going to happen next. And I also want to say this is part of a much, 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 much larger puzzle. Organizations in Akron have been working on the housing issue for decades, have been organizing around this issue, and this does not at all replace any of those things. It stands on top of those shoulders, it amplifies that work, and is part of a much larger puzzle. So let's walk through the teams that are making this all happen and give you some details about exactly what happens next. We're calling this the Civic Solution Cycle. And if you've done, I see many faces in the audience who have done community organizing and know this work well. These are 3 steps that we'll walk through: aligning, assembling, and acting. So every great civic effort starts like this: a foundation of dignity and integrity and trust, a shared problem, and a commitment to actually solve it together. That's what Align is really all about. So this assembly started with people in the community, many of which who had a very strong reputation for integrity, to watch over this whole process. These were not folks who loved the idea of a civic assembly. These were folks who challenged it, who said, will this really work? How can we make sure that it could in Akron? That's what we needed. They were called the kitchen table. Today they are called the accountability team. Anybody in the accountability team, if you are here tonight, made it through the blustery storm and could stand, and I know we have Tim Miller, would you tell us in a sentence or two what the accountability team does?
Thank you, Morgan. Briefly, the accountability team, glasses help. Accountability team's reviewing the entire process to be sure it's transparent and worthy of the public trust.
Thank you. So from that guidance, Unify Akron held over 350 community listening sessions to find out, 1, do Akronites actually want a civic assembly in the first place? And if they do, what are issues that would be interesting to tackle? And this became a bit of a matchmaking process. What do people of Akron actually want to talk about? And what do elected officials actually want deep public input on? Housing, as you can imagine, rose to the top of that list. And I think what's also interesting here is the partnership that has been really, really deep between the folks and the government of who you'll get to meet here in just a little bit. So housing, again, was this issue that residents overwhelmingly wanted to tackle, and it was one where the government really needed resident input. Unlike a lot of political processes that we're used to, one side comes with a solution, another side says, I don't like that solution. We instead started with a North Star. What do we actually want to do in Akron with housing? So that's Align. Align got us pointed in the same direction, and now came the work of engaging folks across Akron, bringing ideas and voices in, finding the really gathering ideas, but also making people feel included in this process. Anybody on the outreach team here today, could you please stand? And Karima, could you tell us a little bit about what the outreach team did?
Well, the outreach team, we work to invite and engage the full diversity of Akron to ensure that this process truly belonged to us.
Thank you. And thanks to the work of Karima, the folks you saw stand, and many others, 584 people in Akron raised their hand to do this work. That is 50 plus hours of hard work serving their community. It was really incredible. And as part of that process, they also collected 165 ideas. Some from reports, some from community organizations already running deliberative processes to get those ideas. And then came two other teams, the research team and the solutions team. If anybody is here from those teams tonight, if you've made it, if you could please stand so we can recognize your work. The research team, as I think you can see above my head, provided and is still working on beautiful, accurate, accessible information so that delegates and the community can deliberate together. And our solutions team has been working to really present options and trade-offs with the practical experience of working in housing every day. So that solutions team had 18 folks ranging from commercial developers to housing advocates, tenant union organizers, folks in the city who've worked in the planning department their careers. And they folded together from those 165 ideas, matched some, fold some, applied their technical knowledge and day-to-day practical experience into this, and then they ranked them across 8 different criteria, like impact and feasibility and buy-in. Now, there were a handful of those ideas, even more than a handful, that are quick wins, that we don't need public deliberation on. There are things that could be implemented or maybe are already on the path to implementation. So then came the really hard work. The team is genuinely very diverse, so reaching consensus amongst them was difficult, and it's a deliberation in and of itself. So the solution team has built about a dozen proposals with the ideas that were the most tricky, the hardest, the most complex, that really needed your input. The public's wrestling with, is this actually the right thing for Akron in this moment? These are not the group's favorite ideas. In fact, some of the group does not like these ideas, but that's the point. They're the complicated ones. They're the ones that you can't solve in an hour or at a town hall. You need 65 people in a room deliberating them for 50 hours. And of course, delegates are going to wrestle with those and then also come up with a whole bunch of their own ideas, guidelines, and things to add inside the process that the community has already gotten started for them. So 2 weeks ago, those 584 folks who raised their hands, 65 people were picked from the lottery with a demographic breakdown by age, gender, race, ward number, housing status, and political affiliation that mirrors Akron as closely as we could for a 65-person group. And I think you'll see above me what some of those statistics look like. So you'll see there'll be about 6 or 7 people from every single ward in Akron represented. All right, we have 2 more teams that I'm really excited to honor and welcome tonight. The first is the support team. It's the support team, and if we have any facilitators or folks on our deliberation team, if both support and deliberation could stand up for us so we can acknowledge your work. All right. And Dreama, would you tell us first a little bit about what the support team is doing?
The support team removes barriers to participation and cares for the need of every delegate, so everyone has the opportunity to participate fully.
Thank you. And Sue, would you tell us, oh, thank you, yes. And many of y'all in the audience who are delegates have probably talked to Dreama, thank you. And Sue, would you tell us about the deliberation team and our facilitators?
Sure. So after the work that the solutions team did to identify those 12 community ideas, the deliberation team, beginning tomorrow, is going to roll up its sleeves and introduce its work to the delegates in the design of the assembly. We've worked very hard to make sure that the process is fair, that we have discipline, so we're going to start on time, we're going to have breaks on time, we're going to end on time. And like we've been saying, each member of the delegation team, your voice is going to matter. we will hear you without question. So let's roll.
Can I just take a moment, too, for Sue Lacey? Literally none of this would be possible without her. So, Sue, thank you. Thank you. So starting tomorrow, like you heard, the Assembly will deliberate and act is really where the recommendations will become a reality. If the delegates build a strong consensus, and as many of you have heard, this is not about 50% plus one. This is about 2/3 support. This is real rough consensus. If they do, then they'll make formal recommendations to the city government, both the executive branch and the legislative branch. And then the government will do its work, review recommendations, legal questions, timelines, resources. But throughout that review, the impact team, hopefully including many of y'all here tonight, stays involved, not just during the deliberation, but through the decision-making itself. The impact team is actually working to make sure that the Assembly's recommendations lead to real results. And you might be thinking here, what if the government just says no? That's a totally fair question. But here's what's different. The impact team will be in those rooms, the accountability team will have watched over this process, and the community will be informed and organized. There's no guarantee, but it's fundamentally a different environment than presenting a report. It's a partnership. Without the people, change is nearly impossible. But with the people, change is nearly unstoppable. And there's one final step, evaluate and iterate. This is, it's really special because it doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to all of you, and we must make this better and better and better. So the more suggestions you have, the more feedback you give, the more you put your fingerprints on this, the better we can be for the next Assembly in Akron, but also for the next communities that are watching what we're doing tonight. It's an incredible honor to be able to author this together with the group of folks in this room and not in this room. As we know, Akron has challenges beyond housing. You know that and have heard that. But thanks to all of you in this room and many others, we know that this community is willing to raise its hands to fix things together. And that's the Civic Solutions Cycle. It's 3 stages, but it's hundreds of dedicated people, and it's one shared goal. So now for the heart of the evening. As you know, the 584 residents raised their hands for this process, and 65 were chosen by lottery. 10 weeks, over 50 hours, evenings away from friends and family and commitments, weekends given to their city. I'll turn it over to the announcer now.
Would the delegates and alternates of Akron's very first Civic Assembly please stand, if able?
These are Akron's civic deliberators, and keep standing. We know that you are not doing this alone. You have a partner, a friend, a neighbor, a child, a parent, someone who said, do this, this matters. Would any of y'all in the audience also please stand, because you are really making a commitment to, and we want to honor and thank you. Awesome, thank y'all so much. We're so excited to see you tomorrow. You can be seated. We have one more group that we need to recognize. Transformative change requires more than 65 people. There are residents who raised their hands who were not selected as delegates, and they showed up anyways. One more time for us, announcer, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, would the members of Unify Akron's Super Assembly please now rise?
The Super Assembly is really something that Akron is innovating for the rest of the world. Civic assemblies have happened thousands and thousands maybe thousands of times at least. And the impact part of it, the engaging the rest of the community part of it. So thank you so much for leading the way. These Super Assembly members, they'll learn everything the delegates learn, deliberate on the same proposals, feed their insights back into the Assembly process, and when the time comes to move from recommendation to change, they'll be among the most informed people in our community on housing, ready to lead, so thank you. I've spoken about the government now and their commitment to this community effort. We are so lucky to have really unprecedented partnership with both the executive and legislative branches. This is unprecedented for Akron, I think, but also a model that we are not seeing anywhere across the country. So I'll bring Robert DeJarnette back to the stage, our fantastic MC for the night, to introduce you to two incredible leaders. Robert.
All right, are we still excited? All right, together, listen, we are renewing the promise at the heart of self-government that the well-informed wisdom and goodwill of the people met by government, not only just met by government, but met by a government that's willing not only to listen, but also to act, which leads to an enduring progress and really a better Akron. So I would like to introduce to you all two of our top influential leaders of the city of Akron, none other than Mayor Shamus Malik and the President of City Council, President Margot Somerville. Let's greet them with a resounding round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. It is such a thrill to be here with you all, to be here with our council president. We are so excited to work with you over these next few weeks, months, and really years ahead. We're doing something different here. You're part of something different, right? Which is really trying something new when it comes to soliciting feedback and engagement with our residents. And this is such an important thing for us to do, because not just important what we do, it's how we do it, right? And government at its core is really just the sum of all the choices that we make. And government can make people's lives easier, and government can make people's lives harder. And you all are stepping up to the plate to take time out of your days and your lives to be able to step up to the plate and help us on such a critical issue as housing. Right? And housing is really at the heart of making sure people have successful, healthy, happy lives. And so the work that we can do around housing conditions, around housing affordability, around housing presence in Akron, housing development in Akron, of all kinds of housing, it's going to shape the future of this city for a long time to come. And so we are so excited to work with you, not just the mayor, not just city council, but working in partnership, working together. Because really, how much do we see that these days, whether it's at the federal, state, or local level? And we want to be an example of that here in Akron. And so this is something that we are committed to working with and not just letting reports gather dust on a shelf, but really see that work through, whether it's again, implementing it on the administrative side, passing legislation, passing budgets, and on into the future. So with that, excited to introduce my partner, our partner in this work, our City Council President, Margot Somerville.
Good evening. It is an honor to stand here and be with you on tonight, and looking out into this room truly represents the heart and soul of Akron, and we're excited about that. Earlier this year, my colleagues, Vice President Jeff Fusco, President Pro Tem Brad McKittrick, and I introduced legislation formally supporting the partnership between Unify Akron and our city, because we believe this partnership will change the trajectory of Akron. The resolution passed with unanimous support of Akron City Council members. We didn't just pass a piece of paper. The legislation was our acknowledgement of the urgency of the housing affordability crisis that is hitting our neighborhoods here in Akron, and that there is an immediate challenge that requires an immediate collective action. So today, we aren't just here as government and citizens, we are all here as partners. The covenant of the people of Akron that we're embracing on tonight asks us to show up, to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable, and to assume the best of one another. As president of Akron City Council, I want to be clear about what our best looks like from a legislative perspective. Serious consideration. We have pledged to give every single recommendation that comes out of this assembly serious and thoughtful consideration. We aren't looking for easy answers, but we are looking for the right answers. A formal response. Akron City Council will ensure and issue a formal public response to each recommendation, accepting, partially accepting, or explaining why we might reject a proposal. There will be no mystery in terms of our process. Diligency and transparency. For those recommendations we adopt, we will work with the administration to implement them through changes to law, policy, and budgetary priorities. And we are committed to providing public updates and written progress reports to ensure we stay accountable to you. We recognize and affirm the independence of this assembly. Your deliberations must be free from political interference, to have true integrity. Our role is to listen, to engage, and then to act. To the delegates, thank you for your resolve to see this through. We are the well-informed wisdom, right, that this city needs. Akron City Council stands ready to work in a spirit of openness and collaboration. So let's rise to what this moment asks us, and that is to build a better Akron together. Thank you.
And now, please welcome the founder of Unify America, Harry Nathan Gottlieb.
I know everybody was coming from behind the stage, but I wanted to see the show. All right. You know, in November of 2002, I had the opportunity to sit on a jury. Now, most people on that jury, they didn't want to be there. And I was curious about the whole thing. But I also wasn't sure I wanted to be there either. And then the judge said something I will never forget. He said, "You will sit in judgment over your fellow citizens. This authority you've been given to determine guilt or innocence is one of the greatest responsibilities we have in our society." I noticed that I and everyone else in that jury box sat up a little straighter. It wasn't a big case, it was just a car accident. But 12 people who had nothing in common, who came from completely different walks of life, took it seriously. We listened to each other. We pushed back on each other's perspectives. We disagreed, sometimes strongly. But we kept listening to each other because a jury can only reach a verdict by consensus. You cannot win by beating an opponent. You are on the same team. You can only win together. Now, do you know that 90% of all jury trials in the world take place in the United States? 90%. That is the depth of our belief written into our Constitution in the wisdom and judiciousness of the people. So as I was walking out of that courthouse in 2002, it hit me. Why can't we solve our public problems like this? What if instead of what is typical in a political process, where one side asserts the solution it wants and tries to beat anyone who stands in the way? What if instead we began with a North Star, a shared goal we could all agree on, and then looked at lots of different ways that we could potentially achieve it together, becoming well-informed, listening to each other, wrestling with the benefits and the trade-offs, deliberating our way to the best course of action, because we know that is how the best decisions get made. And the more diverse the experiences and perspectives of the people around the table, the better the chance of finding the way to the wisest decisions. Delegates, you are now charged with exactly that responsibility. You, 65, represent the 190,000 citizens of this city. And because of what I know of this city, I am already filled with confidence in you. Now, I know we don't have that many people from the Super Assembly because of these wins, but my Super Assembly people, thank you so much for being here. Your commitment to this process really, really matters. If we want durable transformational change, it takes a lot more than 65 people. It takes hundreds of folks who are willing to learn, teach others, spread the word, show up, and persist. Because we are not here just to make wise decisions. We're here to clearly and measurably improve life in this great city. And we are so blessed to count among those hundreds the scores and scores of volunteers who have contributed to getting us to this day, who will take us through this assembly, and who are going to work to implement change afterwards. And I want to specifically recognize Mayor Malik and the city staff, and President Somerville and the members of the City Council. I wonder if you all understand what you have already achieved by so unequivocally placing your faith in the people of Akron, by so fully committing to this process. You will give courage to elected leaders in other cities, in other states, demonstrating to them that you too can be in partnership with your own people. So here is what I believe with everything I have. We do not have to solve our problems by fighting each other. That is a choice. Political democracy, where we divide into camps and battle for control, that is one choice. But there is another, deliberative democracy, where we move from conflict to cooperation, from my side winning to the only way we win is by winning together. We are a government of the people, but as Lincoln warned at Gettysburg, it is never guaranteed. It has to be earned again and again by each generation, and it is now our turn, and we will earn it. May this momentous process be a light to the whole country. Thank you, Akron, Ohio.
Please welcome back to the stage your MC, Pastor Robert DeJournette.
I thought I was going to get the same applause as Harry. Thank you, Harry, so much. This is indeed a pivotal moment in Akron's history. And I just really want us to just let this soak in, just what a pivotal moment this is. I mean, to have our both branches of our government in Akron, our leaders, Mayor Malik and President Somerville, to commit and sign an MOU, that is huge. They are putting their reputation on. Yes, let's hear it for them. Because they are elected officials, and they are putting themselves on the line to be held accountable. And that speaks volumes of their leadership. And again, this is history in the making. And we have committed government leaders, organizational leaders, and most important, we have residents pledging to work with integrity and harmony towards one shared goal. And everyone should have received a copy of this document, which is the commitment. And different teams have different commitments, but all share the common commitments to each other. And some of those are on the back, but I'm just going to read a portion of this and then allow us all to take the covenant together as we recite it. After you repeat after me, it's call and response, right? So just in the first part of this, I really want us to just listen with your hearts, because this is some good stuff. We, the people of Akron, Ohio, in the spring of 2026, hereby join together in a civic undertaking of a shared purpose and resolve. This covenant is built on our belief in the promise at the heart of self-government that the well-informed wisdom and goodwill of the people, met by a government willing to listen and act, leads to enduring progress and a better life for all. And today we are joining together to keep that promise. And the word covenant, it's many terms, many definitions of it. There's also a biblical definition of it, but a covenant is more than a contract. It is a commitment that those who make that covenant is coming from their heart. And this is a pledge made in public between people who need each other to do together what none of us can do alone. And we make these commitments to each other. So if you all would repeat after me, everybody stand as you take this covenant. I just think it has some meaning when we stand and we really internalize the words that we are going to say. So repeat after me. We will show up not just once, but again and again. We will be honest, even when honesty is uncomfortable, and kind, even when we disagree. We will assume the best of one another. We will bring our best effort to this work. We will see this through, not because we are certain of the outcome, but because we believe that the people of Akron, working together with integrity and open minds, can rise to what this moment asks of us. This is an act of civic faith. To this covenant, we sign our names freely, and we shall keep our word. So at this time, we're inviting everyone to come down to the floor, to one of the tables alongside the stage to sign. You could go to any table, and if you're not on a team, you can join one tonight. We're all on the Unify Akron team. So everyone at this time, come on down, find a You're not coming down to get saved. You're coming down to sign. Listen, this will be a historic document, certainly for Akron and perhaps for the whole country. No community has ever signed a covenant like this before, so we are making history. And if you like, we have a photographer, none other than Shane Wynn, and you could take your photo if you would like as you sign. And as we close, I just want to say to the delegates that I wish you all very, very well as you begin this exciting, historic process tomorrow. We want to thank you for your commitment, your transparency, and your openness to this endeavor. So let us all just give a round of applause for this effort and the team that put this together. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Also, welcome back to the stage, while undergoing this, Gospel Meets Symphony Quartet to sing an accompanying original song.
In the city we are standing, hand in hand today. Different roads behind us, but we walk the same way. Justice is our promise, and love will light the way. Hope is rising in our hearts today. We rise as one, we stand as one. One voice, one hope, one song begun. Justice and mercy, hand in hand they stand. Together we rise as one. We rise as one.
Every door is open, every soul belongs, every voice is worthy, and every heart is strong. Truth will guide our footsteps, and love will make us free. This is how our world should be. We rise as one, we stand as one. One voice, one hope, one song begun. Justice and mercy, hand in hand we stand. Together we rise as one. Love will lead us, justice guide us, hope will lead us. We rise as one. Love will lead us, justice guide us, hope will guide us. We rise as one. Love will lead us, justice guide us, hope will guide us. We rise as one. 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 Oh, we rise as one. One last time, we rise as one. 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 We stand as one. One voice, one hope, one song begun. Justice and mercy, hand in hand we stand. Together we rise. We rise as one. We rise as one.
Thank you all so much for coming. Have a wonderful evening. Please, once more with feeling, welcome back Revolve to the stage. And we'll see the delegates tomorrow at Akron's first Civic Assembly.